You will hear the president lay out the historic achievements he has delivered on for the American people and his vision for the future. Looking at what President Biden faced when he came into office and where we are now, it is clear he's got more done in the first 3 years than most presidents have accomplished in 2 terms.
Well, depending on how you define the word accomplishment, because let's see who's happy with the last 3 years. Well, the Sinaloa cartel, very, very happy. Communist China, all the fentanyl deaths here in the United States, more than 100,000 fatal drug overdoses every year now. Carjackings are up 93% since Joe Biden took office. Not a problem. Joe Biden's going to tell us tonight that crime is down. It will be a lie. 2022 had an exceptionally high crime rate, so they'll compare 2023 to 2022. But if you compare 2023 to 2019, you'll see that crime has been skyrocketing under Joe Biden and so-called Democrat leadership. Bam, 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 bam. And Joe Biden will say it, then the media will parrot what he says, and they'll leave out the facts. I don't like leaving out the facts. I like the facts. That's what I like. I like all the facts. Don't you? I know you do. Wouldn't be here if you didn't like all the facts. Yeah, pretty extraordinary stuff. They've got this left-wing outfit that tells us gun assaults were down 10% from 2022 to 2023. But from 2019 to 2023, gun assaults were up 42%. They're going to tell you that carjackings are down 9% 2022 to 2023. But compared to 2019, carjackings are up 93%. Felony assault, they're going to tell us, down 3%, actually up 8%. Not trending in the right direction, but they're perfectly happy to lie about everything. Great piece by Jeff Murdoch in the Washington Times today. Also on the front page of the Washington Times, LGBTQ. Aren't they leaving out a few things there and a plus? LGBTQ earmark pulled over sex parties. We, the taxpayers, thanks to Democrats on Capitol Hill, we're ponying up our tax dollars in one of these idiotic criminal bills where we're all being robbed by members of Congress. They're going to use our tax dollars to fund gay sex parties because the Democrats have power, and that's what they use it for. Democratic senators rushed to cancel $1 million they had inserted into a spending bill for an LGBTQ center in Philadelphia after a viral report said the place hosted sex parties. Senators John Fetterman and Bob Casey of Pennsylvania. Can you believe that Fetterman is a member of the Senate? That's everything you need to know about what's happened to our government. Fetterman and Casey asked that the money be pulled after they stuck it in, they slipped it in. Asked that it be pulled from the list of pet projects included in the overall bill, which will fund several cabinet agencies. Yeah, but not the whole government, because everything is crooked. It was exactly the type of embarrassment Congress hoped to avoid as it took another spin on the cash carousel known as Capitol Hill as earmarking, by which lawmakers redirect some of the usual spending to specific projects in their home states and districts. After a decade-long hiatus, earmarks returned under Democrat control in 2021. This year marks the first time Republicans have controlled one chamber, giving them more ownership of the process. Still, some conservatives derided the cash grab as unseemly for a party pushing for spending cuts. We cannot support forcing Americans to fund earmarks that waste $1 million on Environmental Justice Center. They've got an Environmental Justice Center, $1 million. You know, how many people pay into the federal system for their entire lifetimes to give the federal government $1 million so a corrupt, sexually perverted Democrat can slip it into the everything? And in these giant, stupid bills that nobody reads, oh no, there's going to be a government shutdown on Friday. And the government wets their little lady underpants, and that's just the men. Oh no, government shutdown, it's all the Republicans' fault, unless we get the gay sex parties included. Just amazing. $4 million on a new green, listen to this, a new Green Deal police station. I'm sorry, what? The police station is going to be green? How about we hit some criminals over the head with nightsticks and put handcuffs on them and drag them into jail and not release them immediately? Because that's the Democrat Party America. $4 million on a Green New Deal police station, while 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck because of reckless government spending, said Ryan Walker, Executive Vice President of Heritage Action at the Heritage Foundation, which is doing really great stuff these days. The House of Representatives defied the demand and passed the $460 billion spending bill, earmarks included, on a 339 to 85 vote on Wednesday. Now, honestly, so the House passed the bill under our new Speaker of the House. You know, you got to stand and fight, boy. You got to stand up and fight for these things. You got to recognize when you've got a cudgel with which you can win the fight. And the Democrats give you these idiotic cudgels, and you have to stand and fight. Do you learn nothing from Donald Trump? Honestly, is this your first hour in politics? Man, oh man. So Heritage Foundation, Ryan Walker saying, don't pass this ridiculous bill. But the House, under the new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, passed it anyway. 85 Republicans voted against it. The bill now moves to the Senate, where passage is naturally expected because the Lizard King and the radical left anti-American terrorists are in charge. And then to the White House for Joe Biden to sign into law the $4 million for the Green Police Station. And, you know, they did apparently pull the earmark for the $1 million for the gay sex parties, but you're a Democrat party. The bill included money for various government programs, including the Department of Veterans Affairs, where, you know, they just pulled the VJ Day. They were shamed into getting rid of that bad idea. But the VJ Day kiss in Times Square, the sailor kissing the nurse. Oh, we can't put that. That was a forced kiss. I went and read up on that yesterday. I read all about it. It's an amazing story. The photograph of the kiss, there were two different people taking photographs. There are two different paragraphs. The sailor in the story was with his brand new girlfriend in Times Square when he saw the nurse, and he had just come out of the Pacific where he was pulling dead bodies and wounded out of a ship had been blown up by the Japanese, an aircraft carrier, because of two kamikazes. And the sailor was pulling dead bodies and wounded sailors out of the surf, and there were nurses there saving them in this battle in the Pacific Ocean. And when he saw the nurse in a nurse's uniform in Times Square on VJ Day, he went over, even though he was there with his girlfriend, and he kissed the nurse. And it's an amazing story. The whole story is amazing. In one of the photographs, there are multiple photographs. In one of the photographs, there's a woman behind the two of them. The woman behind the two of them is the sailor's girlfriend. They were later married. And they stayed married. The last story I found, they were married for at least 66 years. And the girlfriend, who became his wife for decade after decade, laughed at it and said, wow, he went over and kissed the nurse. And she's laughing in the background. You can see her with a big smile on her face. And the nurse and the sailor remained good friends all their lives. And they showed up at events together, and they did parades together. They signed photographs together. And you know, the nurse got to know Rita was the name of the woman that the sailor married. It's an extraordinary story. I I thought maybe I should post a story on social media because I think I shared it with you guys, didn't I, on the text thread? I did. And it's a really fun story. Great story. But the Biden Democrat Department of Veterans Affairs, they hire people who are heterophobic. I think the VA Veterans Affairs official, the woman that put out the memo saying we must take that down, that was an aggressive assault. It was nothing of the kind, but they're anti-heterosexual, which might have something to do with why our birth rate in the United States is at a near all-time low. And the Democrats tell you need Venezuelan gang members out of prisons to come here to boost our birth rate. And they're literally, well, they don't say gang members from prisons in Venezuela, but they do say Venezuelans and all this stuff. So back to the bill. Still to come is a bill funding the Defense Department, the Department of Homeland Security, Health and Human Services. But like these Democrats, they slip it past you. They slip it into the bill. Hey, $1 million for the Environmental Justice Center, $4 million for the Green New Deal police station, $1 million for gay sex parties at Philadelphia Gay Center. And I got to tell you, you do that, you should probably go to prison. I know everybody's going to prison these days. But that is what kind of a senator are you? You're stealing from people to fund these ridiculous things. Forget about the nature of the thing and the gay sex. Well, don't forget about that. The gay sex parties that they're funding with our tax dollars. Just extraordinary stuff. Man, oh man, oh man. I am telling you. All right, where are we? We got so much to get to. What? So much to get to. All right.
The Biden video?
Oh, that's right. We have the crazy Biden video. Let's go to the crazy Biden video, which just popped while we're on the air here. But the White House put out a video. And they got Morgan Freeman, and Michael Douglas, the actors, the movie stars. Those are good ones. Bill Pullman, who's a perfectly good actor too. Gina Davis and Tony Goldwyn, who I think is the grandson of Metro Goldwyn Mayer. Hollywood family up the yin-yang, and that can be quite literal in Hollywood too, up the yin-yang. But never mind that. And if you go to Philadelphia, the taxpayers will pay for it. Amazing stuff. And the reason they got these people, Morgan Freeman, Tony Goldwyn, Gina Davis, Michael Douglas, Bill Pullman, they've all played the President of the United States in Hollywood productions. All right? Tony Goldwyn, a TV series that nobody's ever heard of. But he's the grandson of Metro Goldwyn Mayer, so pay no attention. And Joe Biden. And they've got these, I've been saying for years, this is all a terrible television show. And here it is. They're giving him advice as fake presidents on how he should be as president of the United States.
Some of you might know what a big speech like I have to do is coming up State of the Union. Any advice you have for me in delivering my speech?
Well, sir, in my capacity as president, all I had to deal with was a meteor. One of the things that I came out of that with in my speech to people is hope. Hope is the strongest force we have on this country.
Hope, but what about change? We got to have change if we're going to have hope. Let's get our bumper stickers together. Now, Morgan Freeman is the greatest, of course. He is great. But it's Hollywood and the Democrat Party, circle fest in a hot tub. That was Morgan Freeman. Tony Goldwyn, President of the United States in some TV show called Scandal that nobody's ever heard of.
Well, Mr. President, looking back on my own presidency, I behaved very badly in a lot of situations. In preparation for your speech, it's just there was one sort of piece of advice and that meant a lot to me when I was president. And so I just wanted to share that really quick with you. Tell them that you exist for them. Tell them that they make you a better man. And
that'd be good.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and that's pretty. I don't really have anything to say. I only read other people's lines. So when I'm called upon to come up with something myself, I'm not very good at it. But I came from a very wealthy Beverly Hills family, and now I get to play dress up and make believe and get good tables at restaurants, and talk to the President of the United States, even though I don't have a clue what I should say. Gina Davis is an actress. She pretended to be the president in Commander-in-Chief.
I know from experience, obviously, what a tough job it is.
Obviously.
And, when I was president, it seemed like every week there was some new crisis that I had to face.
You did a hell of a job.
Thank you. I do feel I should just point out one thing it always bears remembering: there's no crying in politics.
Wrong again. She got the wrong movie. There's no crying in baseball as the story there. And also, is she taking what is she taking male steroids or something? Her voice sounded like she was a professional boxer. My, that is crazy. Hollywood, Michael Douglas, Bill Pullman. The Democrat Party, it's all a terrible television show. It's all a lie. I feel like it's like a Twilight Zone episode. To Serve Man. It's a cookbook. It's a cookbook. Soylent Green is people. We're living in a very disturbing time in the United States of America. Hey, it's Chris Plant, excited to tell you about our July 2024 Listener Sea Cruise. We'll be sailing around the British Isles, visiting Scotland and Ireland. Please join us. Visit ChrisPlantCruise.com. Because the Democrat Party is dress up and make-believe, and they lie about everything. Now they got Michael Douglas, perfectly likable actor, played the President of the United States once, and kind of a fun movie. And this is like North Korean style propaganda, but they have Hollywood and North Korea doesn't.
Mr. President, from my experience of being Commander-in-Chief, I learned that having loving partner changes everything. Love and compassion as a leader are strengths. They're not weaknesses, and are key to your character.
Now, at least he got his line straight. And Bill Pullman.
In Independence Day, I had it easy.
Fun movie.
We just had invaders from outer space coming in wanting to mess with us, and that tends to unify people.
Yeah, now we have the Democrats.
I'm not so sure it was the greatest speech ever, but I did manage to say two things.
Two things.
One is that we can't be consumed by our petty differences, and we will be united in our common interests. And somehow these words became something to remember.
The MAGA extremists and all that, The most divisive president, the worst president, Joe Biden. But at least he's got Hollywood. Don't get in a hot tub with him, though. All right, again, the State of the Union is tonight. And again, we're being told that Joe Biden will lie to us about crime tonight. That's what I expect. Hey, 2022 to 2023, where crime was down. It's like, 1944 to 1945, the World War II wasn't so bad in 1945, because in 1944, it was worse. Pretty amazing stuff. Big lies. Now, let's get to some of this State of the Union and our corrupt media. Key to the Democrat Party's success is a corrupt American news media. Now, Donald Trump, this is a very important element in all of this. Donald Trump is going to be live on Truth social media tonight during the State of the Union, and he will be responding in real time to Joe Biden's State of the Union. Fact-checking. That is contesting, rebutting in real time. And that is just great. And again, President Trump did go on yesterday on Truth Social and say it's time for a debate. And on Truth Social, he posted yesterday afternoon. We were talking about it yesterday morning. Dana Perino was talking about it night before last. President Trump should have, on Super Tuesday, challenged Joe Biden to a debate. He will not debate. Joe Biden will not debate. Right? And President Trump on Truth Social said, "It is important for the good of our country that Joe Biden and I debate issues that are so vital to America and the American people. Therefore, I am calling for debates anytime, anywhere, any place. The debates can be run by the corrupt DNC or their subsidiary, the Commission on Presidential Debates. I look forward to receiving a response. Thank you for your attention on this matter," he says. And he posted that on Truth Social, where he will be this evening, right? Rebutting Joe Biden in real time, which is great. And the media attacks now President Trump for asking for a debate. Trump begs for debate with Biden after skipping every primary debate. Well, the Republican primary debates are one thing, a presidential debate, completely different thing. But our corrupt left-wing media, you know how they are. Now, again, I've got my friend Randy again, because he posted a great one. He's got a great idea, and it is a great idea. And that's why I always give credit to people when they have great ideas. Or I try to. And Randy says, listen, here's what President Trump ought to do. He ought to, remember Clint Eastwood with the empty chair? Where was that, at the Oscars? Where he addressed Clint Eastwood put a tall bar stool up on stage, and he had a conversation with the empty bar stool. President Trump should set up a debate with an empty chair like Clint Eastwood did. And Randy says, that'd be pretty awesome. Or even better, get a Biden puppet that just sits there in a chair. And President Trump up on stage, live stream it, find a television network, and take questions. And then President Trump could give fake answers for Joe Biden. Here's what Joe Biden would say. But doing the Clint Eastwood and having an empty chair is a fun idea, and I think a good idea. By the way, Liz Cheney, who has just gone completely over the wall, Liz Cheney announces her latest plan to keep Trump out of the White House. She wants to keep Trump out of the White House. She's a former Republican. She's got TDS in a big way. NewJersey.com is reporting the story. Why NewJersey.com, you might ask? Nobody knows the answer to that. She announces her latest plan to keep Trump out of the White House. Liz Cheney, a former Republican leader in the House of Representatives, before she was booted from office by GOP voters, how dare the voters vote a person out of office, for leading the investigation into former President Trump, has vowed to do everything possible to keep Trump from returning to the presidency. I think she needs some meds. On Wednesday, after Trump's GOP rival Nikki Haley withdrew from the Republican presidential primary, Cheney announced her latest effort, a political action committee aimed at helping President Biden get reelected. The GOP has chosen, Cheney tweeted. They will nominate a man who attempted to overturn an election and seize power. I don't actually believe that to be true. Peacefully and patriotically, the most important words of the day. We have 8 months to save our republic, at least she didn't say democracy, and ensure Donald Trump is never anywhere near the Oval Office again. Kamala Harris raised bail money, actively involved in raising bail money for Democrat rioters, looters, arsonists that injured thousands of police, murdered dozens of people, and perpetrated billions in property damage during their St. George of fentanyl riots across the country. Join me in the fight for our nation's freedom. If you think Joe Biden being in the White House represents our nation's freedom, then it's time you sought therapy, honestly. I am telling you. Oh, and Brian Doherty reminds me, Clint Eastwood was actually at the RNC, was at the convention. Is that what you were about to tell me? Michael's got it written down across the table for Mitt Romney in Tampa. That's where Clint Eastwood did the empty chair thing. And that makes it even more fun that Trump should use the Clint Eastwood empty chair technique, because I think that'd be great. All right, let's go to some audio. Let's go to soundbite number 1. This is Andrea Mitchell, who is a lifelong Democrat Party apparatchik. And she's NBC News, has been for quite some time. And she was on MSDNC with their own polls, NBC News' poll, which was full of bad news for Joe Biden. So their own chief, senior, longest-lasting correspondent, Andrea Mitchell, got up there to attack their own poll because it's the best way she could think of supporting the Democrat Party.
Maybe that 5-point spread in the New York Times poll and our poll and the head-to-head matchup is not quite accurate. Maybe the enthusiasm for Joe Biden is, as their campaign has been claiming, bigger than we think once it was a binary choice.
Binary? You mean like binary and non-binary? Is that what you're talking about? The New York Times poll and the NBC poll show President Trump leading Joe Biden by 5 points. Well, maybe let's just not believe polls in this. And then, once we have ballot harvesting and no IDs and drop boxes in the middle of the night, people wearing surgical gloves, maybe it will come out the way Andrea Mitchell and the Democrats want. Hillary Diane Rodham Clinton. And don't think that she doesn't still believe that she could end up in the White House. When Joe Biden falls down a flight of stairs and fakes an illness, we haven't played that fakes an illness thing in a long time. Joe Biden said when the day comes, he may fake an illness and walk away from the presidency. And that day may be looming. Although apparently not a Dr. Jill Biden really wants to stay in the White House. She's drunk with it all. Hillary Diane Rodham Clinton was doing a black podcast because they're all racist and pandering. Did she talk about hot sauce? Does she have any hot sauce? And she says, well, the criticism of Joe Biden is that he's kind of old.
Somebody the other day said to me, Zerlina, well, but
Zerlina,
Joe Biden's old. I said, you know what? Joe Biden is old. Let's go ahead and accept the reality. Joe Biden is old. So we have a contest between one candidate who's old, but who's done an effective job and doesn't threaten our democracy. And we have another candidate who is old, barely makes sense when he talks, is dangerous, and threatens our democracy. So really, pick between your two old ones and figure out how you're going to save our democracy.
Going to save our democracy. It's a constitutional republic. You don't even know what it is. And you and the Obama administration, the Biden administration, your open borders and the Venezuelan gangs and emptying the prisons and the murders of nursing students and the rapes of 14-year-old girls, your crime wave, your economic catastrophe, everything is so much more expensive. And what is Hillary Clinton, 6 months younger than Donald Trump? Honestly. But she's still waiting in the wings. She's gonna jump on the thing here because she is, 76 years old and Donald Trump is 77 years old. Is that what's going on here? But now she figures, well, they got Joe Biden in there and yada, yada. She could jump in at the last minute. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Amazing stuff. She's 76, but she's not done. Let's go to Peter Doocy and Cringe Jean-Pierre. Hey, how about a debate? Because President Trump is now demanding a debate. You want to have him debate an empty chair? And Peter Doocy got this from Cringe.
Now that the field is down to 2, is President Biden going to commit to a debate with Donald Trump?
That's something for the campaign to speak to.
Well, we know when the debates are going to be. We know where they're going to be. Is he going to go?
You should speak to the campaign.
In 2020, once it got down to one-on-one, Joe Biden said, I can hardly wait to debate him. How about now?
I'm going to sound like a broken record. You should reach out to the campaign.
Why is this a campaign thing?
Because it's an election. It's a debate for the 2024 presidential election.
Yeah, and you're the president's spokesman, and we're talking about a presidential debate with a former president and the current president. That's not really a Hatch Act violation, but that's okay. I'm telling you. All right, CBS. Jacob Jones. This is a pretty amazing thing. Historically black college University, HBCU, because we have to abbreviate everything. Tired of Joe Biden. Doesn't like Joe Biden at all. Hey, why are you voting for Joe Biden? No, I don't like Joe Biden. This goes to the African-American vote thing that the Democrats are pandering to. Here is Jacob Jones, HBCU student, who's no big fan of Joe Biden.
I think President Biden, he kind of sold a dream that he couldn't accomplish. His famous quote was that for African American, you weren't black if you didn't vote for Joe Biden.
Yeah, remember, it's Charlemagne the Misspelled God. Remember Charlemagne the Misspelled God? He's a great hero of some kind. He's like Neil Armstrong in Democrat circles. He misspells the word "the" in his title, Charlemagne the God, because illiteracy is king. This was a great moment in presidential history.
But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
You ain't black. Do you have any hot sauce on you? Because Hillary had hot sauce on her. That's pretty amazing stuff. Again, Jacob Jones talking to CBS on the same topic.
What do you think of former President Trump?
I think President Trump was a bad people's person, but a great leader. He put our economy in a booming state. He provided a permanent funding for all HBCUs.
Clark Atlanta University young man doesn't think that Trump's the best people person, but he was a good president, and that's fine. Cringe Jean-Pierre at the White House again. The State of the Union, as Joe Biden will allegedly deliver it tonight. He's going to be delivering it. This is kind of an interesting twist. He's going to be delivering the State of the Union from an oxygen tent.
You will hear the president lay out the historic achievements he has delivered on for the American people and his vision for the future. Looking at what President Biden faced when he came into office and where we are now, it is clear he's gotten more done in the first 3 years than most presidents have accomplished in 2 terms.
Well, the Sinaloa cartel believes that's true. The Chinese Communist Party believes that's true. There's no doubt about it. Cringe then went this morning on MSDNC, an extension and engorged appendage of the Democrat Party, to lie, and they lapped it up like little girls.
It's going to be important for the American people as he knows it and understands it, and as you all have been talking about it this morning, to hear directly from him on his vision, what he has done in the last 3 years. He's done more in the last 3 years, Willie, than most presidents have been able to do in their 2 terms. And so that is going to be important for the president tonight.
When she said their first 2 terms, that makes me think he's not going to leave. He's not going to leave. He's not going to leave the White House. His first 2 terms. That's these hysterical little mental cases. Senator John Barrasso on tonight's State of the Union.
Mark my words, tomorrow night will be Joe Biden's last State of the Union address. And that's because the American people are not going to invite him back to give another one next year.
Well, I was suggesting yesterday and again today, it may be Joe Biden's last major political speech. If he does not make it as president to Election Day, or, they're going to be the convention. I was talking to people yesterday at Newsmax about this. Well, there's the convention. He's going to deliver a speech at the convention. He may be wheeled across the stage in an iron lung, waving pathetically one little hand as Kamala or Hillary or Mao Zedong takes the place of Joe Biden on stage. Tonight's the State of the Union. Donald Trump on Truth Social tonight, responding in real time to the State of the Union speech. What is more fun than that? That's the best thing. I'm going to have to put one on a big screen TV and the other one on a bigger screen TV, I think. Laugh and laugh. It'll be a lot of fun for everyone. Bring the kids. It's the economy, stupid. It's inflation, stupid. It's the price of groceries, stupid. It's the price of gasoline. It's the price of heating oil. It's the price of natural gas. But Joe Biden, we're told, will not announce any action on the border. We are told he will lie to us about crime rates being down in the United States, but you know the truth about that now. David Axelrod, who's a former Democrat news reporter, then Democrat administration official, now a Democrat pundit, on CNN, saying yesterday what Joe Biden ought to be talking about tonight, but he's not. He's going, the threat to democracy, and even left-wing, radical, fake journalist, fake leader David Axelrod is having none of it.
There's a lot of talk from the president and others about, the soul of the nation and the future of democracy. But if you're sitting around your kitchen table and talking about the future of democracy, you probably you're not paying a lot of attention, or don't need to the cost of the food on your table. And most Americans have more immediate concerns. Biden has to address those tomorrow night and explain how he's fighting for them.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Talk about things that matter to us, like mayhem, anarchy, crime, carjackings, unsafe subways, failed schools. What was there are so many stories I got to tell you about failing schools in D.C., failing schools in Chicago, failing schools in Baltimore. And the Democrats wrecked them all. The Hill headline today, Democrats ready to hit panic button in Trump-Biden race. God, then they're going to change genders or something. How much we're actually dreading this Biden-Trump rematch, the Washington Post headline. And the New York Times, the Trump-Biden rematch is here. Americans are processing. The New York Times is in a gender panic of some kind about all of this. Just amazing, amazing stuff, I am telling you. So tonight, the State of the Union and President Trump's rebuttal in real time on Truth Social. I'm told that Tucker Carlson will also have a rebuttal to the State of the Union, and I think that's a lot of fun. That's great stuff. The Democrats are completely disconnected from what people care about. Arrogant, effete, elitists, disengaged, disconnected, and completely uncaring. But it should be a kind of an amusing speech tonight. We'll see if he lasts.